And we are back. Sorry for the hiatus. Won't happen again, probably. John Keister's back with us. This is his second episode with us, and this is our last episode in the old, I'll call it studio. But me and John really enjoyed this episode. We went deep on a few different subjects. One of the ones that I'm very passionate about that I'm glad we covered was pastors who are not established as counselors, who aren't educated as counselors, thinking that they need to counsel people who actually need therapy and or a psychologist. So I know some of you may not enjoy that, so maybe skip over that part or fight with me about it. Sounds good. But me and John talk about Hyles-Anderson College. We're talking about Jack Schaap a little bit. John's going to share with you the moment that he told Jack Schaap he was gay and how Jack dealt with that. Very interesting. Stick around to the end if you like. We got a few bloopers that I think you'll enjoy. And once again, thanks so much for enjoying this episode of Not Your Mother's Podcast. Huge thank you to John Keister, who flew a long way out here to California to be on this episode of Not Your Mother's Podcast. Enjoy. My name's Stuart. This is my good friend John.
Hi.
And this... There you go. And we're not starting that shit over.
Why not?
This is the Not Your Mother's Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.
From the outset, I can
So
tell you,
good.
this is going to be a terrific fucking podcast.
Yes.
I am super excited to have John on. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. John is not, John is surely at this point the guest who's come from the furthest away
Yes.
to be on the podcast.
New
the way-
Mexico.
No, way further
Yeah,
than
way
that.
further than that. I flew in from Baltimore.
There you go.
Whatever
Just to be
that
on the
is.
podcast.
Yes.
That's the only reason he's here. Tomorrow he flies back.
Focused.
None of that's true. But I am glad that, well, it is true that you are flying back, but not tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm super grateful to have you on. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, yes, absolutely. Okay, well, actually, we're going to start a little bit different. I said we were going to start one way, we're going to start another, but this is not the first time that, how do I say this, that we've been on film together.
Yes.
We actually did record a previous podcast, which, as I've stated earlier, with another friend of mine, Trenton, we recorded one, and we call it the Lost Tapes. And that
Right.
one I actually deleted purposefully because it was pretty rough. Not his fault at all.
Right.
We went off half-cocked. It was pretty rough. But me and John did film something. I feel like I was in court around that time.
Yes.
Was that when it was?
Yep.
Okay.
We just finished up.
That's right. And so that was a while ago. We're talking a couple of years at least. So we filmed what we thought was a podcast.
It
And
was
that one-
magical.
It was super magical,
Right.
which is why you haven't seen it. But yeah, we filmed something a while ago. I
Right.
don't know. I really, honestly don't know what happened to that one. It was interesting, but I have to say thank you for that
Yeah.
because that's a part of the getting started process and
Exactly.
figuring out how all this works.
Right.
I first met John. I'm gonna try to put a year with it. Okay. Well, it would be the year that you traveled with. Well, no, I think you did a spring or fall tour with Doug and K-Lap.
Okay. That was a lot of fun. I love traveling with Doug.
Really?
By the way, he was fantastic to travel
Really?
with. Yes.
That's terrific to know.
Yes.
I would not have guessed that.
No,
I'm not
he
trying
was
to be a dick.
amazing.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So the year I met you, let's see, did you and Clifton go together more than 1 year?
No.
Okay, so it was that
Not
year.
that I recall. No, we didn't.
Okay, so it was that year,
It was
whatever
the
year
first
that was.
year. That was the first year I went.
Oh, okay, so it would have been 03? 02?
That was in 2000.
Oh, 2000?
2001. I think it was 2000.
2001 is the year that Jack Hyles died.
It was the summer
Does that help?
of 2000.
Okay. Wow.
And
Yeah, we had just
traveled
moved.
the
I was in
summer
the
of
trailer.
2000.
Yes, I was in the trailer
I
in
think-
Missouri.
Or maybe it was the summer of 2001 and summer of 2002.
I
it
think
was
it's 2001. I think
Okay.
it's 2001
Right.
because when my family moved to Missouri,
Right.
was also the year 2001 that Jack Hyles died. I
Okay.
remember
Yeah,
that.
it was the year that he died that I went on tour. Like
Yes,
he
that was
just
2001.
passed or something like that.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
2001.
I remember. Oh, hot damn.
Yeah, well, because I remember he died and September 11th happened the same year, and so they were obviously, they obviously coincided.
Right, of course.
Clearly,
Yes.
those are very much related.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. If you don't know who Jack Hyles is, Google him. You'll find a lot of interesting things. So, I met John Keister when he was on tour. I've talked about this on previous podcasts. Tour is something that we did for Hyles-Anderson College.
Yes.
We would go tour different sections of the country, and we would sing. And some people, not
Shout.
me, yeah, also shouting. Not me, but some people would sign young people up to come to Hyles-Anderson College.
Yes.
I never did that. But
That's okay.
But so the first time we met was not at Hyles-Anderson, but was Hyles-Anderson influenced.
Right.
And then I didn't really know John that well at Hyles-Anderson because literally his last year was my first year of Bible college.
Right.
If you can call it that. I prefer to call it fake Jesus college. But
it was fantastic.
Good. Well, at least someone enjoyed their time there. So we didn't know each other real well, but we had a few. One thing that struck me as odd about John in college was that even though, I'm going to suck up a little bit, but get over it. Even though he was an upperclassman, and most upperclassmen just didn't really have time for anyone that was new. And I don't think that's a Hyles-Anderson or a Christian thing. I think that's a social construct. That's just the way it works. Right. Because you ask anyone that was a freshman when I was a senior, I wasn't the nicest to them either. Right. But John stood out because he was very nice, very kind, and very... it was a big deal when I got there. John had been a pianist for years, and you were traveling, not on tour anymore so much, you were traveling with a quartet of guys. They were kind of a big deal. And for John to take the time to be kind to me or talk to me in the hallway, that meant a lot. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And so, and we'll make light and make fun of a lot of things, but that's something that really just is coming to mind. That I recall very vividly. And that goes to this day. Like, you've been a good friend. You've helped me out with a lot of things.
Thank you.
And so, anyways, that's how we knew each other a little bit of Hyles-Anderson. But we are going to talk about Hyles-Anderson. I think the one of the biggest things I ever remember from you. So, there was a big, I think he wrote a book on the divine intimacy, didn't he?
I think so.
Or at least there was a sermon series.
Yeah, a sermon series.
Yeah,
exactly,
something. So Jack
6
Schaap,
o'clock evening service or whatever.
Jack Schaap got into a really
5:30.
funky space. Yeah, it was the 5:30 thing. Yeah. The question and answer thing.
Yeah.
That was Jack Hyles. Did Schaap do the question and answer?
He did it. They had the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Somebody did it.
Yeah, someone was there. Colston or someone. But he got into this weird space. Well, he was always in a weird space. But he got into an especially weird space with Jesus and sex. And how, wasn't it communion was sex with Jesus, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be as intimate as that is, then you're supposed to be that intimate with Christ and stuff like this, you know?
It was weird, man. It was real weird. So he had a whole, either at least one message or maybe a series around what he called the divine intimacy.
Right.
And so every year we had the college didn't put it, well, the college might as well have funded it, but we had pastor school.
Right.
And so pastor school was, let's talk about pastor school.
Yes.
What a trip is that, looking back?
Yes, wild, right?
Dude,
Like
so people from around, not just the country, the fucking planet, would come to listen to Jack Hyles, Jack Schaap, whoever, speak and teach them how to run their church.
Right.
But it wasn't a cult.
What was it?
What was it if it wasn't? But like, really, like, you come from all over the world to have this guy give you step by step.
Right.
Like, he had a book called the Hyles Church Manual to show you how to do things.
Right, and it was pink, honey.
It was pink.
It was pink.
It was.
It was the first RuPaul of books. You know? It was so great. You know?
Very good. I like that.
Everyone would see it on the shelf. You know, it was like
whoa.
It was like a traditional like Christian book in drag.
That is actually going to be the title of this podcast.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah. It was really interesting. But we always had to dress up in these, like, and they always put us, I remember that they would give us these sequin vests to wear and stuff like this. And I was like, dang, these are beautiful. Like, these freaking
who picked
sequin
these out?
vests or whatever. And I was like, who honestly, who was the gay up high that chose the sequin vest for the guys, though? I mean, like,
it's
honestly,
true.
I just never would have assumed that sequins would go on the bed ever.
Yeah, that would be okay.
Especially on the year when they were promoting God's word, and they had a giant blow-up Bible come out of the baptistry on the top with the circle, like the open thing. So giant blow-up Bible comes out the top of the thing or whatever. It was so
how creepy is that?
It was so funny, man. It was so funny. I was like, "Who got a blow-up Bible? Where do you rent that? Yeah? Do you go to the Bible bookstore and you're like, I need the blow-up Bible?" And they're like, "Okay, we'll get you the blow-up Bible. That's $29.95 easy pay." You know what I mean?
You got the Zelle app.
Exactly.
Oh my
exactly.
god, dude, that's so funny.
Right.
I didn't know about the Bible.
But they would always give out they would give out free books because everyone would pay a bunch of money to come. But they would always give out everyone their book that they wrote this last year. We're giving you our free book and
that you paid for.
That the college kids printed on the
on the printing press in the
basement. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, but that whole construct, you pay money. And they didn't put you up. You had to find your own place to stay.
Oh, of course. But
Youth
it's normal with conferences, though.
Yes, that's true.
Right.
That's true. However, I don't know. It's normal with conferences, but it's a religious conference. Like, that's just, it's mind-blowing.
But some people would stay in people's homes and stuff like that.
They would, yeah.
The first year I went to pastor school, I was a teenager, and I stayed at the shepherd's house in their basement, which were fantastic. People absolutely love them. And I'm actually good friends with their son still.
That's awesome.
But it was so interesting just being away from home and going to this thing and this place and all this big stuff was happening.
Yeah, it's all very exciting.
It's all exciting.
Yeah.
You know? But I think it's exciting, period, just to get away from your home and kind of see what people are doing in other places and stuff like that. I felt like the church I grew up in was very akin to, like, they had Jack Hyles at our church. In Washington State, we had him like the most almost consistently out of almost any other church.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like no, I don't even know if another church had him the amount of times like consistently. It's like we had him out. They had him out for like 30 something years. Wow. It was crazy, like consistently. Yeah. So
that is a lot.
A lot. So, anyways. Very, very interesting. The pastors were, my pastor and Dr. Hyles were close.
They were
very
homies.
close. Yeah. Good times.
So back to pastor school.
Right.
The thing that cracked me up, because pastor school, there was always like the college students were very involved. We had to fucking clean the place, and we had to be a part of the services, and we had to miss work so that we could show up. Especially if you were in a tour group at the time, you were going to be expected to sing. There's a lot of things to be involved in. Working in their little pop-up restaurants they would do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it smelled like fucking whatever I cooked for. Not amazing. Fuck you. It's terrible. It smelled like, this is going to sound weird, it smelled like meat for like a week.
Yes. Stuart's like,
smell of meat.
What's that fresh scent? Oh, it's Calvin Klein burrito.
It's exactly what the fuck it is. So, but I remember they would start prepping for it way in advance.
Right.
And when I got there, John had been there for 4 years. Nearly, three and a half, whatever. 3 years. 17.
I was there for 6 years.
Were you really?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So John had been there for a little while when I got there. And so John was very still to this day, which I love, is a very sarcastic person. And was very much over the whole like, oh, pastor school's coming. Pastor school was in March, I feel like. I think it was in March. Yeah. So when you got there as a freshman in like September, John would be like, pastor school's right around the corner. I remember this guy saying that to me. Didn't really know me that well, but just would always, I would hear him in the hallway or he'd say it to me, hey, pastor school's it's right around the corner, right around the corner. Every fucking day this guy would say that shit. And when I first got there as a freshman, I was just kind of like, that's weird. But by the time I left, I was like, oh fuck, like it's always right around the corner. And John would say, I don't know why this still makes me laugh. It's not the whiskey yet. John would always say, pastor school's right around the corner. Hey, did you get your Divine Intimacy kit yet?
Yes.
He would say, always talk about Divine Intimacy kits, which weren't a real thing, but might as well have been. Because Schaap went on and on and on about the Divine Intimacy and the sex with Jesus. And it's just like, why not have fun with it? I think that's where John, I'd say that's where you were.
Yes.
Would that be a correct
Gotta have the Divine Intimacy kit. I mean, like, we had so many great, because you'd buy my book on prayer and get 17. It was like a Joseph A. Bank. I don't know if you guys have those around here, but Joseph A. Bank commercials are like, buy one pair of socks,
get 300
suits free today. Buy today. Do it now. Yeah, I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like, buy one book on prayer, get 900 Chick tracks for free. Sign me up. You know what I mean?
Gotta have the chick.
Gotta have it, So when you hear about a Divine Intimacy kit with all the portals and pages, I mean, you've got to get a hold of that.
Gotta get your hands on that shit,
exactly.
Don't you?
It's like the lips of the Lord have landed upon you. So
I had so much fun. I'll never forget that.
Good times, yeah.
So Hyles-Anderson, we both went there.
Right.
You were a freshman. Do you remember what year you were a freshman?
What year was I freshman?
Yeah.
When
did you start?
I came in 1999.
99. Okay.
Yeah.
And I came in 04.
Right.
So again, John was definitely exiting as I was leaving.
Yes.
Good for you. So I would say because of the time frame we were there, and there's other things. I'm straight, John's gay. There's just other different things that were variables for us. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have not exactly just like it was with Mary, which I believe that podcast will air before this one does. There's just differences in our experiences. So you walked me through some a day in the life or what are, let's start here. What are some things looking back that you look back and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, give me something that's what the fuck to you. Just like looking back, like whether it's from whatever perspective it is, just a normal person or, being gay and having to be in a dorm with a shitload of guys. Like, what is all that like? What is, or not what is that like, but looking back, what's something that was just fucking ridiculous? Where to start? I know.
Yeah, I know. Right? I'm just thinking about like different stuff. Like, what was interesting to me though is that I didn't come out to myself till I was 30, and
we're gonna talk about that a little bit later as well. Not trying to put that point off. Talk to it, but
it was interesting though because I would get like Undergear magazines and like International Mail, and then because I was on these what were supposedly targeted towards gay men magazines, I would start getting like toy magazines in the mail at Hyles-Anderson, and I was like, oh my god, like it was like all this like seriously like all that play stuff that's like
very legit,
very dark. You know what I mean? It's like the black magazine. You know what I mean? Like the stuff you're not supposed to see.
Dark shit.
You know what I mean? Like the girl with the dragon tattoo kind of crap.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That heavy shit.
Heavy stuff. And I was like, oh my god, they mailed this to me at Hyles-Anderson College. Like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. And what girl, whoever, or maybe who was delivering the mail? Yeah. And they were like, who was putting? Paul? I know, but I don't know if he was in charge of the mail the whole time. But
we read through those.
Yeah, I was like,
oh, let me just.
You gotta be kidding me! I would go to the bathroom and be like, oh my god, somebody is going to see the fact. But then I would look through all the pages, because you just had to look. I mean,
of course.
But then I would tear it up into little small pieces and flush it down the toilet.
The toilet?
The toilet, absolutely. Because I was because I couldn't keep it in my, and then I didn't want to go throw it in the garbage with my name on it. Obviously, I could have torn the back page off, but I wasn't that smart at the time.
Well, even if you were, you have this. There's this paranoia.
Oh,
that sets
totally.
In. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like there's this paranoia of someone, because everyone tells on everyone, and I mean everyone.
It is like Nazi fucking Germany, because it's like
it is.
No matter with people. Whatever exactly, because everybody's telling on everybody else, and the fact that you've got people hitting your floor or whatever, but it could be just whatever thing you're doing, which is normal for everybody. Like you have a rock and roll music CD, which whatever that means,
that'll get you kicked out.
That can get you in trouble. So people would hide or like try to find people that they could trust, they could even just talk to about the fact that they like listened to music that had drums in it.
That was a wicked thing. I remember, I'll say his name because I don't think he'd mind, but did you know Josh Griffin in college at all?
I believe so.
Okay, so Josh, I remember I was super close to getting busted. It must have been my freshman year. What was I doing with rock CDs? Or I don't know. I didn't even have rock at home, but I had CDs my freshman year. Oh no, it wasn't rock. It was fucking soundtracks and Josh Groban.
Right.
It wasn't rock or even Southern gospel yet.
Josh Groban was
barely
dirty.
The worst.
Dirty.
Dirty man. So I remember not getting busted with it, but realizing they were going to come looking and running to Josh, just booking it over to Josh's room on Malone. I was on Rice. I went to random Malone. I was like, it was Monday morning. He was asleep and he was out. I ran over like, Josh, where go? I was super scared. And Josh is like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, they're going to find my music. I was so scared. He's like, just throw it in the bottom of my dirty clothes. I'm like, that's it?
Yeah.
That's your master plan? He's like, yeah, dude, just fucking do it. I'm trying to sleep. I did it, and that was it. Like, I never saw it again. No problem.
There you go.
But it's just the paranoia of knowing I'm in trouble, and I could get in so much trouble. My parents are going to be disappointed. Even if I don't get kicked out, like, I'm going to bear this guilt and shame for these soundtracks.
Exactly. And that goes back to, like, I left, I was sick one night when I left UPS, and my bosses at UPS were so pissed at me, and I didn't want to embarrass the college because the guy that was talking to me.
Well, UPS is a big Hyles-Anderson.
They were at the time, yeah. But the guy was like, I know you Baptists and all this stuff, and he was saying all this crazy stuff about Baptist. It was so religious motivated. I was very surprised.
Yeah. Well, he knew what he was doing.
But the thing is that that I was so not wanting to embarrass the college that I was like, just let them do whatever they wanted to do, and I wouldn't say anything. I didn't stand up for myself when I should have, because I was so not wanting to embarrass
your allegiance to Hyles-Anderson.
Exactly, and so I lost my job because I didn't say anything. I just sat there and just let them berate me and take whatever that they had to say, really, because I was just didn't want to embarrass Hyles-Anderson College. It was so weird, dude. It was so messed up. It was really messed up.
That's so fucked up.
So, anyways, but
so there's just so many, like, it's hard to know where, like, jumping off point to start, but there's so many things with going to that college that are just so bizarre to the real world.
Right.
And I've said this to people that have attended before, like, I wouldn't say it's fun, but it is kind of comical to have a conversation with someone that's been in the real world their whole life,
right? And
then try to explain to them Hyles-Anderson, or just tell them, like, no, that's really how it happened, and they're just like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. You're full of shit. And you're like, no, like, that's exactly how it happened.
We lived through,
exactly. It's all so nutty. Like, what I want to do is I want to talk about that a little bit, but I'm trying to be cautious of, you know, what have I talked about before on here?
Right. No, that's fine.
I don't want to, but no, nothing that you've said is anything that we've talked about before. But you know, life in the dormitories was very. Well, that's where you lived. Really. You know, that's where you slept. That's where you showered. Mm-hmm. I guess I shouldn't say that's where you lived, because you were in class and you had work. You know, if you worked full time, did you work through college every year or no? Because you had scholarships some years.
Yeah. Well, we want to talk about a little bit about how we came there. Like,
let's get into that. Yeah. How did you end up at Hyles-Anderson College?
That came to be is that I was writing back and forth to a guy in Great Britain, and I didn't know about history on your computer yet, and my brother and my best friend found the computer history of me writing to this guy.
Right.
They printed it out, took it to my parents. I was going to go to Golden State in California, and then they found this information. I was gay. My sister and my brother engineered. My
so
best
this
friend.
Is before college?
It's before college. So then Hyles-Anderson had a year's scholarship for being the valedictorian of your micro Christian school.
So we had
10 people in the class, so it made the cut.
2 were in my graduating class, so I did not make the cut.
So I was.
But I was able to say 50% of my graduating class went to Hyles-Anderson.
Well, that's great. Way to go!
I did it. I was very proud of myself.
You're a hero.
In so many ways.
But it was like so.
Okay, so you got a valedictorian
my parents decided because we were, for some reason I thought that people were going to beat me up or something like that if I went to California, which I think is just freaking crazy. I don't think that would have happened.
I think part of it is probably if they suspected that you were gay, which is just this terrible thing.
Right.
This is the land of fruits and nuts, and so I don't know that was part of their motivation, but that would make sense to me that they would think, well, if we keep them away from California, where all the gay people are.
But even at that, I don't even think I think they were just afraid that somebody was going to beat me up because they knew, you know what I mean?
Oh,
so if I went to Hyles-Anderson, a lot less people knew, and nobody really knew because none of the people I
associated with
were going, like most of the people associated with weren't going there.
Okay.
So I went to Hyles-Anderson instead. So I ended up in Indiana. I was just like bawling and crying for the first 2 years. Like, God, why is this happening?
That
sucks.
Like
this whole.
I bawled for a week.
It was awful, dude.
Dude, I'm so sorry.
I mean, I was excited. I had a good time.
This is all new information. Like, I'm not making. This isn't like I'm making this up. Like, that's all new information. I didn't know that.
It was really sad and really because I was like, because the whole thing is like I wanted to be healed, and everyone were like running around looking at the ceiling. And the whole problem going in is that you think you're broken and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I ended up in the dorms, and then of course I end up in the dorms with a beautiful guy who just got like. Anyways, he was my. I won't tell you how he ended up there, but he let's just say he had a lot of extra time to work out.
Okay, all right.
So he was in there, and then we had I was Daniel, and then I had another friend his
we drop a lot of first names on this
I'll drop first names. Yeah. And then Alan had this GD awful, because everyone would freaking wake up at us at like 5 a.m. in the morning
Stupid, dude.
to pray, right? And so everyone's like,
Did
and
they,
you've been working.
Did
these
they
people
enforce
are
that with you? Did they enforce that with you at all?
No one enforced anything, but as far as that goes,
felt
but
the
like,
conviction,
but they
which is actually guilt.
he would get in at like 3 a.m. in the morning,
Oh my God.
and then he's supposed to magically wake up at 5 a.m. But he had this alarm clock that sounded like the world was exploding, and like we were on some fucking spaceship or something like this,
no.
and it was like wah 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 wah, and it was like, and it would go off at 5 a.m. in the morning or whatever, and it was so loud and terrible that. And Daniel woke up one morning. And John slept above me.
Yeah.
He actually was from California.
Nice.
And I love John. He was a great guy. But Daniel woke up one morning and he was so pissed that Alan's freaking thing was going off. And because the problem is that Alan never woke up.
Oh, okay, that's the
Ever
worst.
woke up.
But
To even turn it off.
Isn't that?
You know?
I think that's a human thing.
It was
Like this girl upstairs,
yeah.
like tomorrow morning,
Right.
she's gonna wake you up.
Yeah.
Her alarm's gonna wake you up.
Yeah.
For 3 hours.
It's crazy.
Why is it always? Let's just pause Hyles-Anderson for a minute. Why? What is wrong with you people?
Yes.
Like the people that now she can hear me. What is wrong with you people that fucking?
Oh, she's stomping now.
What's wrong with you people that know you're not gonna get up to your alarm, but you set it anyways?
Yes. So
What's wrong?
hello. Intervention.
Why do you do that? Yes,
Intervention.
intervene.
So
please.
hold on a second.
All
I
right.
have to finish this because
Yes, finish
Daniel
it off.
woke up one morning while Alan's alarm clock was freaking going off, and it was so loud, the world sounded like it was going to explode. Daniel wakes up, grabs his freaking alarm clock. The wall, it was half walls, was like this like plywood crap in the
Right.
wall.
Yeah.
Daniel takes that alarm clock, swings the door open, throws that piece of shit
Come on.
alarm clock against the wall and busts it into a million
That's
pieces.
awesome.
It was great.
That's heroic.
I was like, hallelujah. I mean, now we can have prayer time.
Yeah,
it's
for
prayer
sure.
time now, and I feel some praises going on. And it was so good. It was so good.
That's
you know
awesome.
What I mean? So I agree with you though. Like, if you're gonna set an alarm, freaking get up,
Please.
or just don't set the freaking alarm.
How about that?
Don't set it. Patrick constantly
know.
does that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. It's like there's an alarm going off at 7 a.m. and like somebody ain't getting out of bed till 9. Like, I know that, but like, when are
But
you
you
gonna
gotta
figure
keep
it the
playing
fuck
with that
out? You know
snooze
what I mean?
button. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm not gonna say I'm never guilty of that, but yeah,
Right.
it definitely. If you know you're not gonna get up by the second or third snooze, dude,
Yeah,
just
just
set the
kill
alarm
it.
for
Yeah.
later.
Right.
Come on, or
Right.
don't set it at all.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, money.
Exactly.
So
This has been 2020.
yeah, we hope you enjoyed.
That's
Bye bye. But yeah, I mean, dorm life is just. I think dorm life is kind of crazy, anyways.
Yeah.
But then when you throw in all the factors of, not touching your girlfriend because you're dating, and
Having to get up at
having to
6:30
get up,
and make your bed.
make your
and
bed, and the thing that,
offenses, demerits,
Oh my
and
God,
dorm
yes.
duties. What the was that?
Dude, let's
Can we
talk about
please
that.
hire
dorm duties.
anybody for $1 a
How
day
about
from
this?
a foreign country or something like this? That's not to be racist here or anything, but they would have
Yeah.
have kids come
Look.
in from foreign countries, and they could not work a normal job.
No,
and
no.
so
They
like,
weren't on the right kind of visa.
we all had to go work.
Yeah, but we
And-
also had. Let's talk about dorm duties because I'm trying to because I remember that now.
We used to
haven't
like
talked about that
clean
before.
toilets, and we had to
Yeah.
vacuum the floor and
Here's
stuff like
what's-
that. But like, I'm fine with cleaning up the toilet after I use the bathroom or something like
Yeah.
that, and I'm fine with keeping the floor. But the thing is,
it's
like,
not my job to clean the whole bathroom.
exactly.
It's not my job. I have to work. I was up at 5,
Right.
and I've got to be at work at 4, and I'm going to work till
Right.
1 in the morning.
Right.
But I also have to clean the bathroom, or I'm going to get demerits.
Or you get in trouble. And my
Here's-
thing is, we could have hired one person
Easily.
to go clean every single
Here's
dorm.
here's what.
It could have. It would have
We
been one
did.
scholarship.
We had hired people. They were the dorm soups. Every floor had a man or a woman in charge of that dorm. Why weren't they cleaning?
I mean, 'cause
Their job was to be responsible for
everyone.
everyone on that dorm floor.
Right.
Then clean up their shit.
It was
simple.
crazy. I just feel like that
Dude,
somebody
dorm
like
duties
one
I
of the
completely forgot about. I totally forgot about
I would have
that.
just had some. I just thought it was so annoying, and because I just feel like there was people that were literally there all day long that could not go work because they were from a foreign country,
and
which
they were
is
just, they were
fine.
hanging out.
But they were just hanging out all day long, and I was like, pay them,
Dude,
whatever, to come in and do the work.
We had a guy, it would really weird me out. Okay, so the men's showers were I don't know how you would describe it, a horseshoe, right? Like, at least on Rice it was. Like, it's a horseshoe, so like...
It was just like a half bath shower kind of thing.
Exactly. So, but you had like 10 or 20, stalls for showers.
Yeah, yeah.
This guy, I don't know if he just didn't take classes or what, but if he would strike up a conversation, he wouldn't be going to the shower, okay? He would strike up a conversation with you before you got in the shower.
Right.
He would follow you.
Right.
He would bring a chair in. And he would sit outside of the shower and converse with you while you're showering, getting ready for your day.
Nice.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know.
That was the weird. I would say his name if I could remember it. Not his last name, but I cannot remember his first name.
I just remember the guy that would come in. He would get in the shower with like a suit on, basically,
stall changer.
And then he would get out, and he would come back out of the shower with the suit on. I was like, how'd you do that?
Not soaking wet though?
No, but I mean, part of his thing would get wet because he like tried to dry off in the shower. I was like, how do you manage that? I mean, like, take an entire shower. Like, my butt was hanging out all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, special moment here.
Yes,
we have to remind this that I pull this back up for just a moment, because I was getting out of the shower one day, and somebody told me that my ass was brown, and I was like, how did you get that deep up into my ass to like see that it was brown? And since when, like, do you already know about bleaching or something like this? Something that I don't actually know about, you know what I mean? Because I was like, dude, that's so freaking weird. Like, who's staring at my ass that close?
How did that information come to you?
A guy was standing in the door of the shower, like in the room, and I was drying off because I would just dry off out like everything was hanging out.
He just like hollered that out to you.
Yeah, he was like, hey, like, you need to wipe your ass or something like this. And I was like, yeah, okay, like, I haven't been wiping my fucking ass,
for all of my life.
Yeah, exactly. It's like perfect pig.
Were you ever a part of the prank on freshmen where you would steal all of our shower curtains? Were you ever a part of that?
I might have been. I don't recall really a whole lot. I do. One of my best pranks, though, to
let's hear it,
was
do you remember the Screaming Meanie? I don't know if it was.
Yeah, everyone had those stupid alarms.
Put it off in chapel.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was in the middle of chapel.
Oh my god!
And that was probably similar to what's his name, Daniel had or whatever.
No, Alan's was worse.
Alan's was worse than the Screaming Meanie. So if you don't know what Screaming Meanie is, just YouTube that shit and you'll know real quick. Yeah. But it was a loud as fuck alarm. And chapel is like the very sacred moment of the day. Everyone's quiet. This guy's just berating you about Jesus for an hour. Right. And you've got to shut the fuck up and be still. Or they'll come around with a clipboard and give you demerits.
That's right.
But someone set off the loudest fucking alarm I've ever heard right in the middle. Like, they had it set up to go off.
In the middle
right in the middle of chapel.
Right,
it was glorious.
Yes.
And then another time, there was the little choir loft. No choir ever sat there really, but for a tour, you'd sit back there before you would sing. Someone put a shitload of, went to the bait store, put a shitload of crickets back there.
Really?
Dude, that was so awesome. So awesome. But right before chapel. And again, people, you gotta understand, chapel's the most, literally, you've heard it many times, the most important part of the day.
Right.
Because we're gonna yell at you about Jesus for an hour.
You need to learn.
You must learn about Jesus because you haven't throughout your entire childhood and all your college years and every Sunday. You don't know shit.
You don't know.
But anyways, interrupting that most sacred and holy thing was just glorious. I think it's beautiful.
It was pretty fun.
One of your best pranks, though.
So one of my best pranks was I went to Walgreens across the street, down the street from the college or whatever.
That's right there. I've walked there before.
And it was after Valentine's Day. And they had all their stuff on sale for 90% off. Yeah. So I bought boxes and boxes and boxes of Valentines, and then we brought them in.
So Valentines that you write on.
Valentines that you write on. Okay. But then we did them all in the name of my roommate Mike, and we sent them
first and last name.
Yeah. We sent them to everybody. We sent them to Ray Young. We sent them to and because we had inner office, we had campus mail. So we also sent them to all the high school boys and stuff like this. I'm not kidding you. It was hilarious. And we sent them to everybody, like anybody
that's
that we sent.
amazing.
It was the best prank ever because
That's
the thing
so
is, like,
cool.
it made him super popular though. I don't know. I don't know. He was on staff. He was on staff there for a while. I don't know if he's still on staff or not right now. I'm sorry, Mike. But,
Sorry, Mike.
But
Dude, that's
it was
so funny.
It was the best prank, and we had like a whole bunch of people involved. There was a whole bunch of people that loved and just loved writing these Valentine's
That's
days
funny.
because reading all the Valentines, it was so funny because we would pick some of the stupidest ones
Random
to go
shit,
to like
right?
the worst people, you know. And it was just like the best. It's so stupid, but it was just so much fun. Is writing Valentines.
Dude, that's
we
so
wrote
funny.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Valentines. It was.
That's a terrific prank.
It was a great prank. One of my favorite pranks.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I think
and it didn't hurt anybody. It was just fun. You know what I mean?
Fun. Most of the pranks that I was involved in or happened to me were pretty hurtful. I remember, I think I've talked about this before, so I'll be brief. But I remember my freshman year, they stole all the shower curtains, but they left one.
Okay.
They left one. I know Jason Williams was a part of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll say his name because I'm
Yeah.
still bitter about that shit. But they left one, which was the genius of it.
Yeah.
Because all us
Kind
coddled
of
little
fight
freshmen
everyone,
were like, we'll just wait for that one.
Right.
And I remember my friend Todd was like, he didn't say these words. It was just like, fuck this, I'm going to get a shower. Just went to the song, like, you know what? Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
Just take a shower. Everyone's going to see
It
us,
goes on the floor or whatever.
Yeah,
Water goes on the floor.
Water goes on the floor.
Oh no.
That suit guy would have lost his shit, though,
Yeah,
for sure.
oh, he would have.
He would have
I
showered in
wasn't
the
gonna
sink.
see my suit get wet. No. Oh damn.
There was some, like, I try not to be mean, but we definitely... There's weird people everywhere in the world, but man, do we have a crop of them.
Yes.
Like, we had some people that were just like, whoa, you are from Mars. Like, there's
Right.
no way you're from here. Not here as in Hyles-Anderson, here as in
like
the
you're
planet.
not here
Yeah,
mentally.
yeah, you're not with it at all.
Yeah.
Remember we had a kid, I think it's the same kid that would talk to us in the showers, that jumped off the balcony trying to commit suicide in the Windles, or not, sorry, I said that wrong, in the DeCoster dining hall.
He jumped off the balcony and
broke his leg.
Yeah.
And then, like, when everyone asked him, like, what, he's like, well, I know Jesus was gonna save me. Jesus ain't gonna save you from shit. You're gonna hurt yourself.
You let Jesus take the wheel. Oh
He
my
did.
God.
That was the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
Yeah, just I don't know, man.
Maybe if you would have landed on the sandwich pile or something like that,
I
you
don't know.
would've
Those things
been
are pretty
okay,
hard.
right?
Those things were rough. So, and I think the point we're getting at is life in college in a dormitory is different from the real world. But when you put it in the kind of
The Baptist
environment,
Bible.
yeah, and when you put it in that environment, good lord, it's so much different than the real world. Like I don't say that I didn't have fun or didn't make good friends because I definitely did all of those.
Yeah.
It was just bizarre.
The community was great, but
Yes.
what the also at the same point, it's kind of like the sins in the community. It's kind of like The Village, the movie, almost in a way.
Oh
Like,
my
there's
god,
just like
so accurate. Yes,
it's
perfect.
like you're all in this. You all are really enjoying it, but like, you know,
This is not real.
couples are like doing it together, and you don't know about it. Like, Jack's got his thing on the side, like
Probably
family
a
living
few
behind
of
his
them.
house. You
Yeah.
know what I mean, and stuff
Yes,
like this.
yeah,
Like,
Hyles.
yeah, and then Schaap, I remember, he was like, I remember saying to him one day that I was like,
Did you ever go to Scott for counseling?
Yes.
How did that
the
go?
council, like, basically, like, I mean, like,
Were you going for a specific reason, or you just went
Well,
to go?
because I got expelled from college.
Did you really?
Yes, for like a day, basically.
Okay, hang on. Tell
okay.
me about that.
Okay.
This is new information also.
When I was leaving the dorms one night, I was going on a trip, and I signed out of
You're
the
going
dorms
on a trip,
because we
or
had
you're going on a
yeah,
trip?
I was going on a trip, like to California, actually.
Okay.
And we had to sign out because we had to say where
Yes.
we were going
Yes, yeah, of course.
constantly because we had to.
Yeah. They
You know,
needed to
it
know
was like-
everything you were doing all the time.
Yeah, it was like gold based in Scientology. We have to know where the fuck
Yep.
you are every
Yeah,
moment of
it's
every
true.
day, right?
Absolutely.
So I was signing out, and I signed out as like Bob Hope or something
Oh.
like this. And
The cameras caught you or what?
I don't know who caught
It was
me
some
or
fucking
whatever,
security guard,
but they
wasn't
were
it?
just somebody got upset with me because
you're not Bob Hope, clearly.
and I was just thought it was just it was so I was supposed to graduate like literally like a month after that.
No.
And so
they love dangling that shit, dude.
Expelled me, and then say that I had to take another semester of college. My dad and my mom and dad were supposed to come out. Yeah, exactly. So I had to take another semester of college.
Jesus Christ.
Because of this. It was great. And I remember, like, Dr. Evans was like, I don't even know who you are right now. Like, I don't even know who you are.
Don't you?
But it was just like...
Don't you love that extreme guilt trip that you would
yeah,
use?
it was such... There was so much shame that was used and stuff like that. But it was...
Intense stuff,
Oh,
dude.
intense amounts of shame, yeah.
Super intense.
But it was crazy because, like, I was like, why am I signing out when I'm 24 years old and I'm an adult and
I've been at your spot for 6 years, 5 years,
right?
Like,
and I was just like to the point where I was just like, I am so done, you know?
Yeah,
I'm so done.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Like I just didn't care anymore, and it was like it was
Clearly,
such a joke.
if you signed out as Bob Hope,
and I just know that so many other people that were just like signing in and out, doing whatever they wanted, whatever they wanted, and so like and the thing is, I didn't say anything about anybody else's stuff.
Right.
That's not my job.
Someone turned you in.
Yeah, exactly. But somebody turned me in for whatever that was, and so I had to go to discipline committee and all this.
Excuse me. How many times did you go to DC? Just the once?
And that wasn't even DC. That was like a meeting in Ray Young's office.
Oh, okay.
And a whole bunch of nasty stuff was said in there.
How did that go?
It was really
was that
weird.
Ray Young? Were Jack Schaap and Ray Young both in there?
No, Jack Schaap was not in that.
Okay,
meeting.
you went to council after, yeah.
Yeah,
because you needed more Jesus, clearly.
But when I came back from that trip or whatever, then
that's when you got all kinds of busted.
That's when I got kinds of busted and stuff like that. But then Scott wanted to meet me, him and Ray Young, like a couple weeks later after that, in Scott's office at the church. And I sat there because I thought that they knew that I was gay. And so they kept asking me if I was drunk, if I was high.
Yeah, like, are you drunk and high right now? Question.
No, I don't drink.
No, not now. No, I'm saying in that moment, in their office.
No, I wasn't drink. I'm never drank. I'm not high. Never have been high.
I'm saying like, were they asking you then and there, like, are you drunk and high right now?
Yeah, they asked me if I was drunk and if I was high.
Oh, okay.
Because I was almost shaking because I thought they knew that I was
getting outed.
But the thing is that like, I told Jack Schaap the summer after I came to college. Mm-hmm. Basically told him without saying the words G-A-Y that I was gay, and all he said to me was that, you know, you're gonna do great here. You're gonna find a good wife, and you're gonna be able to go pastor a church and all this stuff. Totally flushed under the rug. Every pastor I talked to really before that time, completely flushed under the rug.
They don't know how to deal with that.
No,
that's the thing that dude, I've gotten into Facebook fights about this so many times.
Right.
Like, and if you're a real pastor who has a real flock and you really love your people, you will send them to a licensed therapist.
Yes.
You will not sit them down and say, I will counsel you and help. Like, I get if you're real good with money and you took the Dave Ramsey class, or if you've had a great marriage for 30 years. Like if I was married, I would sure as shit go to my parents for a marriage help. Absolutely. Right? I'm not married anymore, so I don't need to.
Right.
But that's who I would go to. Or I would go to a therapist. Or both. Or probably a therapist first. But I wouldn't go to my dad as a pastor and say, as a pastor, I need your help with my marriage. Look, if you're a pastor and you're actively counseling people and it's intense shit, you need to knock that shit off. Yeah. Like that, don't do that. Because again, they're woefully unprepared. You have in many cases, I'm not saying in every case, in many cases, you have a degree from a Christian college. That's great. Some of them are accredited. Unfortunately, ours was not. However, accredited or not, you do not have a degree in psychology, in therapy. You have no business trying to help someone who has a psychological problem that they need therapy for.
Right, exactly.
Stop fucking around. You are ruining people's lives. John's a happy man. Your life is not ruined, but you people are ruining people's lives. You need to hear that because they are absolutely doing that. And what you ran into every time, I'm going now. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
What you ran into every time was men that were so unprepared, like.
They just don't know what to do.
You're gay? Okay, well, make sure you budget your money really good and pray and make sure you're here every time the doors are open and make sure you go soul winning a lot. And you know what? God's going to take care of the rest.
Scripture and it's going to be great.
Yeah, exactly. And God's going to take care of everything else. God's not taking care of shit. Okay? When it comes to that, He's not, in my opinion. And I know we have different views on God. I'm not knocking God by saying that. I'm saying God isn't gonna like sort this shit out for you. You got to figure it out yourself.
Right.
And it's not something that some pastor should be trying to counsel you about. And like you said, they don't have an answer. They just say...
When it comes to being gay, divorce, abortion, like the
Yes.
church just doesn't have the answers.
answers.
They don't know how to deal with it. You know what I mean? Because like you're supposed to say all
Look
these
through the
prayers.
Bible. Look through the Bible. What does
right.
it say about how to deal with it? Look in the Old Testament. You stone those people.
All this stuff's supposed to get
Disobedient.
fixed for you magically.
Yes.
And you're supposed to come to the altar and pray and all this stuff, and then all this stuff's supposed to go away, but it doesn't go away.
No.
The problem
Because
is
it's who you
still
are.
there. Exactly.
And it's not a problem.
It's not a problem.
Right. But you've been taught to believe it's a fucking problem your whole life.
Exactly.
So what else? That's your reality. What else do you know?
Exactly, right.
Whew.
It's crazy.
We'll get back on that subject
It is
in a
crazy.
minute.
Fine.
But it's true. Like that is. I love that you talked about that. Like that's what you run into with this kind of mentality. Is like, well, God will take care of it. Well, no. Like it's something. It's not something that needs taken care of. You've just been trained that it's something that's wrong. And again, I'm not just talking about being gay. I'm talking about again divorce and therapy and abortion and all that. It's not something that a pastor needs to sit down one-on-one with you and talk to you about. It's something that you need to get real help with.
Right. Exactly.
Anyways, let's. That got deep fast. That's
well,
on
I was
me.
just saying about about Schaap though. Like, I went to his office one day and I said I really feel like I'm dealing with the liberal news media, like in a way that like whenever I come in here, you guys are just like literally making crap up.
No shit.
And
you told him that?
Yeah, I said it to him. I said it in his face.
Did he lose it? I know he's screwed people
lost
out in his office
shit.
before.
He lost his shit. And he kicked me out of his office and literally kicked me in the butt in front of all the people that were in line. Yeah.
Was this at his college, at the office of college?
No, at the church. At the church.
Jesus.
Yes. It was so weird. It was
humiliating.
So
yes.
It was humiliating, but it was just like it just showed me that like he was like lost.
He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah.
That he was as a person, he was lost. Like it just wasn't.
Absolutely.
He did a lot of wrong stuff, but I do have like an element of compassion in my heart with the fact that he was empathy. Exactly. I would say. For the fact that he was in way over his head. He didn't know what the H he was doing. Also, I feel like he had to have doubted like all the stuff that was going on because it was such bullshit. Because the problem is that you are at when you get to the top of this like the line of the get in line philosophy and of this blessings, and you realize that geez, like
all bullshit.
The stuff's not solving, and the only reason you stay in it is because the money's so good. You know what I mean?
He was
doing fine.
Yeah.
Writing books, and like Joel Osteen's not the runner of the church because the church is paying him a fucking ton of money.
Nope.
He's loving that because he's making money off his books. He don't have to get paid a dime from that damn church.
Yeah.
He can get paid. He can just live
I
off
think
the
he
books.
gets paid much from the church actually.
He doesn't need to.
Yeah.
He's getting paid off the books. And the same thing goes when you're like a leader. You make money, like Gary Vee even.
Yep,
like he doesn't get paid a lot, maybe necessarily from his
CEO,
business.
I doubt he doesn't make that much money.
But he makes a ton of money off of writing books and speaking engagements.
Yep,
that's how it works.
Absolutely.
And so he was doing the same thing. And so.
Well, and you look at how lost he must have been to, no excuses here, but to end up getting indicted and sent away for what he did.
Yeah.
He was incredibly lost. Like there's no way you can I say he's lost because there's no way you can reconcile being a pedophile, which is absolutely what he is, and being a pastor of a mega church that doesn't believe women should even wear pants.
Right.
Like how do you marry those two ideas? They can't. Those don't coexist.
Right.
They're not parallel remotely.
Right.
So,
and that goes to the point of authenticity again.
Yes.
Because when you're living in a space where you cannot be authentic, then this is what you end up. You end up with divergent lives. So
God, that's so good. That's such a great point.
Because he could have done what he did on. That sounded so ghetto, but anyways, he could have done what he did on the on the pulpit at the church.
Yep.
And he would still be a free person right now had he done it. Had he done it at the church and not hid what he was doing.
Yeah.
But because of the fact that he hid and went across the state lines, from what I've heard, I'm not an expert in this area. But just because he was not being authentic for who he was, it would have been better for him to tell his wife, "Hey, you know what? I feel like I'm doing this, and this is what I'm doing. If you want to join me, then great. If not, then you can divorce me. That's fine." But it would have been better for him to have been authentic in whatever it is, regardless of whatever it is going to be. It's better to be authentic. But you live in this place where you're supposed to have this fake profile, and you're supposed to live with your short hair for men. You're supposed to wear this suit. The ladies have to wear their dresses.
It's a
and
very
all that
duplicitous
stuff.
life.
Exactly.
Like, you're two people.
Right.
And again, what you're saying, it makes so much sense. Like, it opens up just such a wide swath of all this craziness that you can do now. Because you're two people.
Right.
And you don't have to step out far to be that same. Here's an interesting concept. You don't have to step out far to be that other person. You just have to listen to rock music and watch a little porn, maybe not even porn. Just watch some commercials where there's a lot of legs showing. Like, now you're that double person. That's all you did.
Right.
That's all you did was do normal stuff that normal people do every day.
Right.
Now you're two people.
Right.
You're living what I would term a duplicitous life, and now there's no limits.
Right.
You can fucking rob banks. You can do all kinds of do it because you've cut off. There's a Bible term. You seared your conscience.
Right.
It's a Bible term.
There's not a connection to your authentic self and who you actually are, and that's the whole thing. Is like with me, like dealing with like gay issues.
Yeah.
Like it was like I'm gay over here, but I'm straight here, and I even like when I was dating my ex-wife, like. I was doing everything with her to the letter.
Right.
Because but the thing is, like, at the same time, I was, like, sleeping with guys.
Yeah.
While I'm, like, not kissing a girl, like, because I've got to obey God in this area. And I was so crazy.
How much of a mindfuck was that, dude?
Hell, you know what I mean? Like,
That's
what
crazy.
is that? It's just so crazy because, like, literally, we were not living authentically. You know what I mean?
You can't. And really, you can't. How can you? And I'm not saying that no one can or ever has. I really feel like my parents, for their time that they were in, they were very authentic. Like, we didn't watch a movie above PG fucking ever. Like, we didn't. My sisters wore what they were supposed to wear.
But that's what they were training with you, though. You don't know if they watched a regular show.
That's true.
That's the thing.
It's
like, even if they watched a different show in the same amount of time.
Yep.
Like. I'm not dragging
no,
your parents right now. I'm just
not
saying,
at
like,
all.
That for anybody, because like I remember, like we weren't allowed to watch movies at church, but then we would go over to like Dr. Owens' house and like watch movies with his kids and stuff like that were like not rated the same thing that were supposed to be rated
not
for
okay.
college.
They were not okay.
Yeah, and so I'm like.
Like start shorting out.
Yeah, exactly. That's when the smoke comes out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're like, what the H?
Well, we're gonna get into. We've gotten into deep waters. I'm gonna pull us out of there real quick, and we'll go back to them. Trust me. But
we go deep all the time.
Word. Let's talk about tour a little bit. And I know I've talked about this with Mary before. But it's I had a good time. Like, I had fun. I had a good, I won't say his name, but I had a good tour pastor. And he treated us right, and we had a good time. We had fun. But I know that wasn't everyone's experience.
Right.
But, you know, it was, and I've explained it before, so I won't go into it. I think I've explained it at the end of the podcast. But, you know, just going across the country or in a different region of the country and just, like, telling people about Hyles-Anderson and standing up there. And what are some, I guess I've already talked about the serious side of it before. What are some things you remember from that experience that were just like, again, what the fuck, or bonkers, or just funny, like goofy, stupid stuff? Because again, you've been on tour 2 or 3 years?
2 years.
2 years.
I traveled. I literally started traveling once I came to college.
Well,
I was on a plane. Like,
you're a rare bird, though. You're a male pianist.
Right.
We don't get those in fundamentals.
Yeah. So
like, I remember the pianist for our tour group. I won't say his name. We've talked a little bit here and there, but like every year was in college, he had to go on tour because that he was the male pianist. Like, we didn't get a bunch of those.
Right.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. You were traveling from the get-go.
Yeah, I started traveling. Like I went to New York like within months of arriving at the college.
Really? For what?
I went to the Osborne's church in New York, and Jack Schaap preached.
Okay.
And then Chris Teff preached there like later on. But I loved traveling to that
That's
place.
awesome.
Was fantastic.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the people there. And actually, one of the Osborne kids lives out in LA, and I might get to see him this week.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome. I hope he gets
He's been trying out for The Voice.
No shit. Oh, I hope
real.
he gets it.
I hope
Well, he's got the right last name for it.
Yeah, exactly. But
Donnie or Ozzy.
But I traveled a lot though.
Yeah.
And I was traveling
as a pianist.
As a pianist, because I was playing all the time. I played almost every
Again,
Sunday.
you're a rarity. Like, that's hard to come by.
So one of the things that happened on tour, like I'm just trying to think about all the different things that we did, because we traveled. I traveled in the Midwest twice. I don't know how I got. Like, I don't know. It was condemned because all the
definitely
other.
Were.
It was
you
good.
Definitely were, dude.
It was good travel. Was that?
Like, I love the Midwest, but when I found out I was in, I'm like, fuck. Like,
Right.
I don't want more casserole. I grew up on this shit.
Right.
Like, I know that's what I'm gonna get.
You're gonna get a freaking casserole if you got a
Every fucking church,
So,
it was, dude,
exactly,
and it was.
exactly.
Like, I'm not kidding you. We went to one place, and I actually know these people, and I'm not trying to be mean, but like, they made homemade pizza, which is fine.
Right.
We didn't have pepperoni for toppings.
Right.
We had hot dogs. Cut up hot dogs. That was a topping.
Nice.
I thought it was gonna be sick.
Nice.
I love pizza,
Right.
and I'm white trash. I love hot dogs.
Right.
But they don't go
Hot
together.
dog pizza.
Fuck that, dude.
You don't love it? Sounds like something off of freaking SpongeBob
It
or something
really
like that. All right, everyone, we're gonna eat a hot dog
pizza now. All right. Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Sorry,
It's gonna be
you're
so
trying
good.
to recall memories, and
I think one of my my most interesting memory from from traveling was I was on tour with I believe it was the year I was with Tom and Clifton and Todd and
that's
Paul.
That's the year I would have met you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We went to a place in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I was with Alan and his wife and their daughter.
Yep.
And she was amazing. I loved her. She was what's his head's daughter?
I don't know.
From the Filipino people.
Dude, I don't know. You lost me.
Oh my God, I can't remember.
Heinrich?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mrs. Heinrich.
With the
Mr. Heinrich's
Yes.
daughter was
Okay.
was Alan's wife.
Okay.
And anyways, super great people.
Hell yeah.
But anyways, we went to this house, and the pastor put us in his house, and then he took him and his wife and went to the hotel. Did I tell you this before?
No.
Oh my God, get ready for this.
Oh boy.
Put your seatbelt on, honey. Yes. So let me check.
It is securely
Right,
fastened.
exactly.
Seat back trays in its upright
position.
Yep.
You're gonna love this. So the pastor and his wife went and just stayed at a hotel, and they put us up in their house. Well,
Big
they
mistake.
had like 3 or 4 dogs, cats, or whatever in the house.
Okay, but
there was pet.
Let me stop you right there. Like, that's just stupid.
Right.
If I had a bunch of pets, I'd be like, y'all staying at the hotel. Like, these are...
No, honey. We're putting the whole tour group at our house.
The whole tour group was there?
The whole tour group was there with the pastor and his wife. Not the pastor and his wife,
no,
but
the
the
tour
tour
pastor.
pastor and
Yes.
his wife. So we were all there in this
That
house.
doesn't make...
So
I'm already lost. That already makes
I
no
think there
sense.
was 6 of us, right? Is there 6 of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to quit and Ted, didn't you?
Right, yeah,
Before
because
Ted.
we had Brad Durham too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then so we're all in this house, and me and Paul Williams had to sleep on this couch. Which, by the way, I just saw Paul yesterday.
That's awesome. What the hell?
He's in DC, so he came
That's
and said hi.
terrific,
I love
dude.
Paul.
Good.
But me and had to sleep.
Yes.
Me and had to sleep on this couch, and the bar was in our back. And it
Oh
was
yeah, those are the
freaking
worst, dude.
Terrible.
Might as well sleep on the floor.
Oh yeah, but there was a bird cage over here, and there was like another thing over here. Like it was crazy, and like the colors in this house
It's like
looked
you're sleeping in Africa.
it was like the colors in this house were like purples
70s.
and like weird
Hyles
reds and
Church
stuff.
Manual.
It
colors.
looked like one of those. It looked like a haunted house, kind of purpley look or
Jesus
something. It was
Christ.
just, anyways, it was just really weird.
Yeah.
The tub was like this red, like mauvish
Dude, that's
red
scary. That's
color.
scary. That's scary.
And Mrs. D was like in
Yeah.
there, like she was like cleaning the ring around the tub out of it, so her daughter could take a bath.
Oh, it's so gross.
And then,
now I know why they went to the hotel.
we aren't done yet. We aren't done yet. There's dogs tied up in the back. Clifton and Todd were staying in the back room or whatever, or Tom. One of the guys put their tour clothes on the hanger in the closet. This closet, I kid you not, was probably like 14 feet wide. It was a long ass closet. It was filled with clothes. He put his thing on the hanger.
Right.
The whole thing comes crashing to the ground. I'm not kidding you. It was so loud, and we were just all freaking out. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Now what do you
We're
do?
trying to put this
Put it
damn
back
thing
together.
back together and stuff like this. And it was like, oh my God. And then we got up the next day. It was so weird. And also that night before we even got there,
Yeah.
like they had all the food covered with like all the food and stuff like that was
Yeah.
covered in like paper towels and stuff like this.
Paper towels.
And then there was flies flying around. So the guy decided he was gonna get bug spray and spray bug spray
On the food?
all over everything, trying to get these damn flies. And it was like, look, it was crazy. It was
That's
crazy.
a nightmare,
okay?
dude.
And then we got up the next day, and then like
you even slept.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I really didn't sleep because there was so much going on. I think the dogs were still in the backyard and yapping and howling and stuff like this. It was nuts.
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
Then we get up the next morning and like there was like breakfast or whatever, right? You know, so we get up and like we get it was like Danishes or whatever, but then we noticed that it was like it was like the day-old bread store, but it was retired day-old bread store because there was like mold on some of this shit.
No
I'm not kidding, dude. It was so weird. It was like my most, okay, so then the next year I was like, our tour pastor was like, oh, we're going to the same town again. I was like,
no.
Hell no. I was like, you don't want to do that.
Trust me, guys.
Trust me, you don't do it. So we got a hotel, okay?
Okay, good.
Because I was like,
just as bad.
I was like, last year was like a man and a mission and a former missionary's like daughter.
Yeah,
like
so
she
she's
could probably
fine.
put up with this.
Yep.
You've probably seen
Your
worse.
wife is gonna lose her
wife
shit,
and her kid are not gonna like love this. That's
Yeah.
for damn sure. So we stayed at a Motel 8 that night, right?
Not too
But
bad.
come back and kick me in the ass again now. Hold on a second. This was the same night that the tour pastor walked in and felt the TV that it was
hot.
that it was on
back
because
in
it's static or whatever
Yeah,
on TV.
back in the day.
So we had this whole implosion about us watching TV. This is the next year at the same exact place. So freaking weird.
Do you remember the name of the town?
I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
It's too close to home.
After,
if that makes sense.
After I want you
later.
to tell me.
So
let me pause you really quick because I want to hear this.
Okay, go
this.
ahead.
But I want to explain to listeners that may not get it. So, television is the devil. You're not allowed to watch TV. And
on tour especially.
But
the second year, the first year we were allowed to watch TV all the time, but they changed the rules because they had a new person come in to run the show, and he was trying to do everything like Dr. C did it.
Yep.
And so because Dr. C didn't let people watch TV, we weren't supposed to watch TV because. But also the problem was the guy had taken girls groups out the year before and whatever years before that, and girls groups don't. The girls groups act a certain way typically for what's typical, and then they wanted to run the men's groups the same way.
Yeah.
Which it didn't work.
No. Well, I mean,
complete explosion.
As a whole, that whole religion, the whole IFB, like, just pushes women down into the ground. It's terrible the way they treat women. Men aren't treated great, but women are treated so poorly.
Right. But then when you try to treat the men the same way you treat the women, oh my!
Well, we were brought. That's the thing. We're brought up understanding that our places. This is not correct at all. But this is what we're taught.
Right.
Our place is above the women. They're to be submissive to us as our wives, and they're supposed to be really sweet and timid and shy and all that shit.
Baking and changing diapers.
And making babies, exactly.
Right, exactly.
But guys, we kind of get to run around and do our own thing. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what it is. So when you've had guys that have been in this, I'll call it a social construct, since they were children or at least teenagers, and then suddenly you're like, now I'm going to throttle you down. They're like, fuck that. Just like anyone else, anywhere else. Like, that's just not going to work.
Right.
Anyways, back to you.
So,
well, hang on. Let me finish. Sorry. So TV's not. I'm trying to explain. You're sending guys into hotels and people's homes and saying, "But don't you watch the TV now?"
Right.
The fuck is that? Of course, I'm gonna watch the goddamn TV.
Right.
Of
Especially
course.
when they turn the sports on or something like that. If you're like ESPN,
Even if it's not sports, I watch TV every night. I was out on tour all the time. So what he's saying is, the tour pastor came into their room to do an inspection, apparently, and was like, "Why would you even put your hand up to the TV? Who gives a fuck?"
I don't know.
But the reason he was because he's trying to get you.
And we were literally watching Leave It to Beaver this night. Like
That's
it was
hilarious.
like Leave It to Beaver.
Watching black and white television, and you got in trouble.
We got in trouble.
Okay,
and
so talk me through that.
But then we had a whole implosion with like that the Bible's been shoved down our throats our whole lives and all this kind of stuff and like that's why we're doing naughty things and all this stuff.
Leave it to Beaver.
And it was just so
the cleavers
such
are just
a mess. But the
for.
best part was that the pastor got in the van like the next morning and prayed and was like one of these like what do you call it? When you're saying something back at somebody, like was it a biting comment?
Oh yeah, exactly.
It was a passive aggressive prayer to Jesus about you guys and about how nasty everyone was, and like all these people are like so nasty, and everyone's being mean and gross and awful and terrible, and help everyone to be right. Not an hour later, after this prayer of total hate, did the van we were pulling this trailer, the axle on the trailer broke in half or something like this. And like so
Jesus was like, no.
no honey, and it broke in half, and like it was such a mess.
That's awesome.
It was just like, I cannot believe this is happening right now. It was like, where are we?
This
I
is
know
a
we
horror-
all
this
have
is a-
like,
it's a horror movie.
yeah, it was like we like, and so anyways, this place in Oklahoma, which I was born in Oklahoma, was a great place, you know,
That's
but like this one
Don't ever
particular
go back to
town
that
turned
town.
into like the hell of my life. Like,
so funny.
so anyways, that was my
I
experience.
don't have anything that good. That's
I
terrific.
didn't get to play the piano for like the next semester after that.
Really?
Our whole group got like
Band.
axed. Yeah, but that's when we made that. We made a
Your
first
CD.
CD, and then we
Yep.
the committee groups came after that one. But the
Your first CD, hang on. I'm gonna see if I can remember because I owned it. I owned your CDs,
Yeah,
dude. Hang on. You won't remember this.
what's that?
This was one thing that impressed me about John. This is just the kind of person you are. I remember I was at pastor school the year that first CD was gonna come out.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Joe was on that CD too.
Right, he was.
I'm still trying to remember the name of it. I'm gonna see if I can. I have a little trivia here.
Mm-hmm.
But I bought it
Right.
at pastor school before
Right.
it came out.
Right,
And when I got to college, I still hadn't had a copy.
right,
And you had them all stuffed away in your dorm room.
right.
And I went up to John and I told him. And
Right.
just like, he wasn't looking for a receipt, just sight unseen, like, oh, you want it? Here you go. Yeah, it's no
Right.
big deal. Like, I remember that. That was very cool.
Yeah.
For me, I'm coming in, I'm just a freshman, I'm nobody, and this guy is upper echelon, and he plays for this big group, which is what it was to me at the time.
Right.
Sacred Heritage? No.
That's what it was.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
What was the one after everything that had the golden voice, as we would say, Steve, and it had I feel like it had a long on it too. Yeah, did it have a long? I feel like Jeremy was on it. I thought that was Sacred Heritage.
Committed Quartet?
Is it Committed?
But was there a
No.
It
It wasn't
Sacred
no,
Heritage after that?
No. It wasn't. It was Comstock. That's who it was.
Okay.
It wasn't. It wasn't a long. It was Comstock. Was the bass, and then I think
It might have
TJ
been-
was on it too.
I think Sacred Heritage, they did
That-
more
was
Sacred
that
Heritage
them
stuff.
Sacred
I think
Heritage?
so.
What were you? What was that first CD?
That was the first CD we just put
First
on.
CD was Sacred Heritage.
Yeah, I think so.
Sacred
I don't know
Heritage.
if it was called Sacred Heritage at the time, but we
I feel like
We
it was
made that
committed, I think
CD.
it was
It was-
committed something. Like there was committed was in the name, but you guys there was something else going on with
we
the
did the one with our tour group.
Yes.
That was the first one I like.
Wittig also.
Yeah, Mike Wittig.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
I'm throwing out all the last
No,
names
it's
tonight.
not.
Yeah, exactly. No, I
Let
don't
him
edit
beep
them.
it.
Fuck it. It's done. It's too late.
You're on there, buddy.
No, I think Sacred Heritage. I feel like Sacred Heritage was the one after we got it. I can't believe that I can't remember this. This is bugging me.
That's fine. It's like we had the one group, and then we had the
Yeah.
Kinetic Quartet group after that, and then, so it was cool.
I'm not cool with not remembering that.
That was a while ago.
It
Honestly,
was a
like,
long time ago, dude.
right?
What was that? The 2003,
It's been
2004,
at least
something
10
like that.
years
Yeah.
almost.
Oh, 15.
12, yeah.
Yeah. Let's make it 20. Fucking
Wow.
round it up.
Might
So,
as well.
so that was your that's some terrific stuff from
Just
tour.
my shit right now.
Do it. This is not your mother's podcast.
No, it's not. Don't watch this, Mom.
Don't watch it, Mom. No, my mom will watch this.
Oh,
so you're fucked.
She gotta love it.
Yeah, she is. So, tour for you sounds like it was pretty interesting to say the least.
I had a lot of good times, man.
Yeah,
had
so
a
did
lot.
I.
I think one of a really interesting moment was when we were in Colorado,
Mhm.
and Tom got he decided he was going to take his shirt off on top of
Okay.
a mountain in Colorado. Well, if you don't know anything about Colorado, those peaks are way the H up there.
Yeah, it was cold.
But it was in the summertime. It was okay.
Okay.
It was hot. Sun was out.
Gotcha.
And there's no atmosphere, so you're gonna get your ass sunburned. So
shit.
Tom came down off this mountain and was like,
Pink.
yeah, like the gods burned his ass, and he had like pus bubbles all over the
No
place.
shit.
And we were with like I think we were with Alan that year,
Okay.
but every time you go to church and like. We were wearing these.
Oh, yeah.
We had these
Suit.
olive suits that year.
Yes.
And
I
all the
remember that.
pastors, oh, they were ugly.
They
oh
were.
my God.
They were
the
rough.
pastors would always like hit you and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" So Tom was
Hey,
in the
brother.
sermon and like they're, "Hey, brother," And Tom had all these pus bubbles under his suit.
So did it pop?
And they were popping and coming through his suit. So it looked like he was sweating all over his back and stuff and on his shoulders. But it was just all the things popping inside of his suit, dude. It was so gross and it was so terrible and awful
so
at the
funny.
same time. And I was like, you've got to be in so much pain. Oh my God. Like, because it was like bleeding through really, really bad. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh man.
Did you guys like take his suit to the cleaners a lot?
Yeah, we had to take his suit to the cleaners all the time because it was so gross. I mean, it was like the juices from his back were like coming through and like all over everything.
That's fucking hilarious.
Can you imagine?
I cannot imagine.
Oh my God.
That's so terrible.
It was just wild. So I was like, I learned my lesson. Don't take your damn shirt off on the mountain, honey. 'cause
Colorado.
Right, in Colorado,
You're
you know.
fucked.
We're walking around up there looking at God's. It's so beautiful up there.
Colorado's
But then,
gorgeous.
oh my
You're
God,
fucked.
he got screwed.
I guess
We were with the alleys on that trip.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's where we went
Yeah.
hiking with that. Wherever we went was unbelievable. Thank you
ended
for that.
up-
It was a life memory.
They ended up in Granite City, Illinois, for a little while.
Okay.
There, okay. So my stories are,
Right.
John's stories are terrific because I wouldn't say it's Wild West, but it's more Wild West than when I went. We got a
Okay.
few years in between, but I do remember, we were in Texas on like we were in Texas for a youth conference kind of thing,
Okay.
right? So. Which is not Midwest, like it was just kind of an out of the way thing that we were gonna do. Excuse me. And when we're out there, not realized, but like we understood that the last day we were there was it was a Saturday. The conference ended on a Saturday, and then we had to be in Granite City. And we were in Texas.
Yeah.
We were in we weren't in Longview, but we weren't far.
Okay.
So I feel like I can't think what Longview's by. Is that Dallas Fort Worth? I don't know, but. We were deep in the heart of Texas,
Yeah,
shall we
yeah,
say.
yeah.
And then we had to be in Illinois the very next day.
Oh my God.
It's terrible. Not only that, the conference ended and we're like, all right, we got to go.
Right.
We want to take you down to the stockyards and have a real good, and it was delicious. Best
Yeah.
meal I had on tour.
Right.
Not worth it. Because
Right.
we were there and we sang. How many
I
times
have to tell you about my best meal, by the way. But
Please
go ahead.
do, please
so
do.
what were we gonna say?
Okay, so what happened
Where's
was
the stockyards?
we're
and their best
and
meal.
it was delicious.
Right.
But we were all thinking like, fuck, dude, we got to go.
Right,
and
right.
like legit, by the time we got to Granite City and got checked into our hotel, we got maybe 2 hours of sleep.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And then you're waking up to sing. You're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
warmed up. You're nothing.
Right.
You're waking up to sing, and for Sunday school,
Right.
Pastor Wayne Mustix
Uh-huh.
gets up and says, we were all mortified when he said it. We were like, oh, you fuck me.
Right.
He gets up and he says, you know what? I decided, because this was not on the itinerary.
Right.
He goes, you know what? We got the Hyles-Anderson tour group. What were we? No, we weren't Hyles-Anderson. We were Sons of the Prophets. Didn't we come up with the dumbest names? So, what were you? What were you? You were Highlander Singing Man?
Both. I think I did both.
Fuck you if you were
each
Highlander
year.
Singing Man. I hate
I don't
Highlander
even know if I
Singing
did Highlander Singing Man. I think I did Highlander Singing Man the
Man.
first
I
year.
don't
That
like-
was
I don't like those guys. I don't
Either
like
way, go ahead. What happened?
He gets up and goes, well, we got the Hyles-Anderson tour group, so
Right.
instead of me preaching for Sunday school,
Right.
we're going to have an old-fashioned sing, and they're going to sing to you for 45 fucking minutes.
Yay!
And we were like, God, no, I can't even talk.
Right.
And again, doesn't compare to the Tom story, but still, that is a very vivid memory of,
Yes.
oh, I'm fucked. Like,
Yeah.
none of us can sing it. We weren't great singers anyways, but now we really can't sing a note. Like, this is
Oh, yeah.
all bad.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about your best meal, though.
Okay, so we went to this Indian reservation, and this was strangely enough in Oklahoma again. Man, I'm really throwing my town
Yeah, you
under
are,
the
dude.
bus. Man. This is crazy.
Fuck them.
Whatever. So we were on an Indian reservation, and these people were amazing. Loved these
That's
people
awesome.
were great. They fixed us Indian fry bread, and so they would take this fry bread, and then they would put meat and corn inside of the
Sounds
fry
delicious.
bread. Then they hold on a second. Then
We're not there yet.
they would fry the
They
entire
deep-fried it?
thing
Oh.
in whatever they've deep fried it in, and oh my god,
That sounds
this was the
amazing.
best stuff I have ever put in my mouth
Well, there's an Indian reservation close. I'm gonna go see if they got
in
meat.
my entire life. It was so good.
You know what kind of meat it was? Just like
It was just
beef?
a beef inside of a fry bread,
Fry bread.
but then
Also deep fried.
Also deep fried. Okay,
Ah.
hold the phone. All right. Welcome to 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning, all right?
Oh, no.
My stomach literally felt like Satan crawled up my ass.
No shit.
And was about to release all the forces of hell inside of my body.
So it was the best food you ever ate?
It was the best food that I've
food
ever,
sickness.
and it was the worst thing that I've ever
What?
felt like. Like I felt like people were just ripping the shit out of my inside.
God.
It was so bad. Like,
dude,
the food. I'm telling you what, that is the best thing I've ever eaten, and it is literally the worst thing that I've ever eaten. I was like, I will never ever eat an entire fucking burrito. Basically,
Yeah.
like imagine taking an entire. Let's just take an entire chalupa.
Yeah.
Close it up, and then deep fry that whole shit, and then you're gonna eat all. But think about all the fat that's inside if you've deep fried a chalupa. You know what I mean?
So you take fat and you deep fry it.
You deep fry it again after it's already fatty. You know?
Jesus.
And, oh my god, it was just insane. So,
that's right.
anyways, but that was my that was the best meal that I've ever had and the worst I've ever had.
That's crazy.
On tour, yeah.
I think I already talked about the worst sack lunch that we had, so I won't get into that again. But I definitely had some bad ones. Like I definitely had plenty of again because we were in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So it's fucking cast.
That's what you got.
It's I've explained it before. It's cream of mushroom soup and then fucking whatever else is in the cabinets. That's what, and it gets thrown into a platter and enjoy. And you're just like,
exactly.
I already enjoyed this last night.
Right.
I didn't enjoy it at all, but I ate it last night.
It's so good.
Oh my god, dude. Oh, so many things. Well, I think we are going to wrap up this segment. And we just got into so many things, so many places.
Yeah,
I'm really, really happy you came on.
Thank you.
Super thrilled that John was with us. But John is out of water and I'm almost out of whiskey. So we are going...
We need a refill, honey.
Yeah, hell yeah. But this is definitely going to conclude the bit where we want to talk about, college and tour and all that fun stuff. A lot of commonalities we have. But thank you for those of you that have stuck around this long. Super grateful that you came along. Thanks for enjoying Not Your Mother's Podcast. And thanks, John, for being on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Peace, yo. You need to use this excellent material in your show.
I'm going to. It's recording.
This is the Arnold glute mix. This is Do we got good lighting, or do we need more light on it here?
No, the lighting's good because we're definitely talking about the Divine Intimacy kits. There's no way we're.
Oh yes. Give us the Divine Intimacy kit.